if your life is not playing out the way you will hope or want it to, one of the biggest reasons is because you don't have a clear vision for your life.
Let me expand on something you just said, man. You're either going to spend the time necessary to create the life you want, or you're going to spend a whole lot more time living the life you don't want.
So Wojo, welcome to the stream here on Big Box. Ready to roll?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So listen, one of the things that we want to discuss here today with Wojo, we were talking about is one of the most important aspects of anybody's life, I think, is creating a vision for their life. And that is one of the things that I was never taught in my previous life. I mean, I remember people talking about you got to have a business vision, you got to have a business plan, all that kind of stuff. But nobody ever told me to have a written vision for your life. We teach at thelifeowner.com and on our events, right? Would you say?
Yeah. I just invented this right now. This is a sign for vision, V. So this is a life hitter sign. You have a vision. You have a vision for your life.
Okay. All right. Okay. So is it sideways too?
Yeah. Whatever angle you want. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So listen, let's get back to the seriousness here.
All right. Come on, dude. This is serious.
Right. So listen.
Joking around. So
one of the things that we discovered during this process from going through this vision, 1,000 times and tens of thousands of people going through our events, that there is mistakes that people make when creating their life and vision. That's what we want to talk about here today on this particular life.
Yeah. So let me fill in some gaps here.
There's no gaps. When I talk, there is no gaps left over.
A few gaps. So what Peter's talking about is, so Life in Air, if you don't know who we are or what we do, our whole thing is like, hey, let's help you figure out exactly what you want your life to look like first. Then we'll help you create a business and run a business to support that life, right? But it's always life first. And the way you know what you want your life to look like is with a vision. And a vision is a very detailed document that really step by step has everything in a very clear, concise manner of what you want your ideal life to look like. And so that's the gap that I wanted to address. We teach people to do this at our Get a Life Getaway, and we spend 3 days diving into this. And we've had a lot of people go through this event. The first one is actually in 2008. So, dude, I'm not a math whiz, but that's 15 years of doing this. Right.
No.
So
at this point, you're like what, late 50s, early 60s when you're
72. I look awesome for 72. I got to tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, except for that thing at the top here. Right. All right. So listen, let's get down into the brass knuckles here and talk about those top 5 mistakes.
Get down into the brass knuckles. Dude, I don't even know what to say to you right now. All right, let's continue.
Brass tacks. Look, I can throw a whole bunch of different metaphors. Okay.
I don't know. Let's just talk about this. We've found the 5 most common mistakes to creating your life and air vision. We want to share with you so that you can not make these mistakes and not struggle as a result of that. So can I start it? Do you want me to go first?
Go first.
All right. The first mistake is not having a vision. And listen, I get it. No one really teaches you think of it this way. Imagine how your life would be different. Just imagine for a moment if you had a vision like when you were a teenager or even your early 20s or even your early 30s, how different your life would be. I know for myself, I went down the path that was kind of expected of me. And then I look around and I see everybody else. Okay, well, everybody else is getting jobs and everybody else is going to school and going to college. And so I did the same thing. I never took the time to figure this out for myself because nobody taught me this. And I also understand that even if you kind of in the back of your head know you're supposed to create a vision, it's hard to do on your own. It really is. It takes, by the way, this is why it takes us and arguably the best on the planet at doing this. Takes us 3 days to help you do this. So it's not something you can do and sit down in a half hour, right? In between, episodes of whatever your favorite sitcom is. You really gotta spend some time on doing this. Also for some of the other reasons we're going to talk to and other biggest mistakes, but this is the biggest one, is not having a vision.
All right. And the other thing that I want to address in this particular thing is that a lot of people think like, you know what, I got it in my head, right? I already know what I want. I know what I want my life to look like. Well, guess what? What's in your head and what you need to put on paper are completely 2 different things. How many times did you write something down and it completely looks different that you had in your head? The other aspect of that is as your circumstance change in your life, guess what? That story, that vision that you got in here changes as well because of those circumstances. So when you put it on paper, now you're having a clear, precise way what that vision looks like. And the last thing in regards to this particular point is this. A lot of people are thinking, well, you know what? I got to take care of A, B, C, D. I ain't got time for writing this vision, right? I'll do it someday. I'll write it someday. This is not the time. I can't do this right now and all the kind of things. At the events, we teach people the 4 stages of financial prosperity. And then stage 1, just to give you a glimpse, is having a vision. That's the reason why it's a stage 1. You do not go to stage 2. You do not go until you do stage 1. It is that much important to write that vision. So not having a vision is a huge mistake. And I will go as far as that if your life is not playing out the way you will hope or want it to, one of the biggest reasons is because you don't have a clear vision for your life.
So let me expand on something you just said, man, because I think it's important for everybody to understand. Is like, you're either going to spend the time necessary to create the life you want, or you're going to spend a whole lot more time living the life you don't want. And so this is time very well invested. And the other thing that I was thinking of too, Peter, as you were talking is like, why don't more people have a vision? I think part of it is the fear that it won't come true. And so, it's easier to kind of like imagine and not have a goal and not have objectives and things you want to accomplish and experience, because that way, if you haven't spent the time to think about it, that means you're okay. You haven't failed. The irony with that is you actually already are failing, because, just because you don't have this, you can't lie to yourself. Deep inside you're playing small. You're not doing what you're capable of. And so don't fool yourself into that, because that's a trap. It's a trick being played on you by fear.
Right. And it's a big part of it. I totally get it. We talk about it, the 3-day giveaways all the time about fear and things like that. And the other aspect I see a lot of people do is like, well, should I go A or B or C? I have all these choices. So if I put it on my vision, now I'm limiting myself, and I'm looking at like, how do I go about this? What if I should have went this way? What ifs and all that kind of stuff, right? So there is this conversation that's going on in their head that's preventing them from putting it down on paper. And the result, what happens, people, when you ask them, what do you want your life to look like? They say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that is one of those things when you go, I don't know. Well, so I ask them, well, what if you did know? What would you say? So start writing some kind of vision. I will tell you this, before you move any further, the best thing that you can do right now for your life right now, wherever you are in your life, is to put down some form of a vision on your paper.
Right. Well, and another form of fear is like what you kind of alluded to is like, what if I write the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, very rarely do I. So I want you to think of it this way. You have a map, and maybe you're trying to get from Los Angeles to Tucson, Arizona, and you kind of know maybe that map that you have is kind of outdated. And if you've ever been driving, right, and you're using your GPS on your phone, and the road there, all of a sudden you'll get a notification that says like, hey, traffic ahead, here's this new route, here's a detour. That's the way this works. And so maybe you're not going to get it right straight off the bat your first time, but you're still going to be closer to that destination, that vision, than if you didn't take any action, right? You can't just stay put because you're afraid that you're going to hit traffic, or that you're going to hit a detour, or there's going to be an accident. You got to start moving in that direction. That's the only way that it works. So you have to.
The way I look at this as an analogy for listeners here is this: not having a vision is like driving from California to Tucson back in the 80s. Can you remember, for some of you might remember back in the 80s, you literally had to pull over.
MapQuest?
And no, not before that.
Before MapQuest?
Like you had to go pull over, walk into a gas station or somebody and ask the guy sitting on the front porch, how do I go there, right? And he goes, well, you go down that road, and when you turn left, you're going to see the house that somebody is sitting on the front porch. Then you keep going down further, and you hit the fence, you went too far, so you got to turn back, and then you're going to turn right, and you're going to see a church, and when you see blood and all that kind of stuff, right? That's why I think it's like driving to the destination without having a vision. Now, when you have a vision, it's like Wojo talked about, we have the GPS that automatically starts to reroute you if there is some obstacle and things like that. And I think that's a great way of living your life. So You want
Awesome,
to
man.
go into the next one?
Yeah, here we go. Number 2. This one is so common. This is so common. And it kind of goes along with not having your own vision. The second biggest mistake I see people make is having a vision that is influenced and determined by other people and listening to what other people are doing and going with the flow. Maybe, and listen, I understand, like, we're creatures of habit and we're creatures of community. And what that looks like for most people is maybe your mom or your dad or someone in your family wanted you to be an accountant, or they wanted you to be an attorney or a physician or an insert whatever, career occupation you're thinking of here. And so you just did it. Or maybe you knew, you had a friend that had a job somewhere and they're like, hey, we're hiring. And you're like, okay, well, this is easy. I'll do that. And so letting other people dictate what your life looks like. And I'll give you an example, man. Like, up until I was, 41 years old, literally almost every single phone call I had with my mom, who, by the way, loves me more than anything on earth and wants nothing but the best for me. She would say, Jason, you have a degree, you have a PhD, you should be teaching in college, you should run a lab, you should be in academia, you should be running a biotech company, you should, and all these shoulds, right? And again, she loves me tremendously. And what she was doing, though, was projecting upon me what she thought would make me happy. And so this is where I think letting other people influence what we do is not really what we should be considering. Rather, we really need to put in the time to figure out what we want, not what we think is going to gain the approval, the acceptance, the accolades, all the recognition that somebody else may give us.
Right. So wait a minute, hold on. Your mom was telling you should be in a PhD in academia. Does she know you really? I mean,
Dude,
seriously?
Yeah, man. Are you talking, I mean, I have a 486 IQ, bro.
On a scale of 14,000?
No.
All right. So listen. So here's the other aspect that's really important when it comes to this particular mistake. It's writing what somebody else wants.
Yeah.
Is a lot of times we human beings have this need to make other people happy, right? We have this need to, people pleasers or whatever the case may be. And what ends up happening when we are in that kind of place, and maybe the people closest to us, like our wives or our husbands or kids or whoever it might be, when we don't put it down on the vision, what we want our life to look like, guess what? The people around you are not clear what you want your life to look like. And by the way, you're not clear what you want their life to look like. So what ends up happening when they don't have their vision, what ends up happening is a lot of arguments, a lot of miscommunication in the people with your life, because guess what? They are arguing on things that you think that they want or they think that you want, and that's not clear. Now, when you put it on a vision, all of a sudden you gain some clarity. All of a sudden, maybe your wife or husband sees what your vision is, and then that allows you to maybe get closer to the one page to be able to actually go after this thing together and not so much in the two different directions kind of thing, because that's what happens a lot of times in life, I think.
Well, so there's really two parts to this. One is you say you don't have a vision, so you simply follow what other people want for you. But the other thing we see, man, at our events is when someone creates their vision and they write down something on that vision that when we ask them further about for clarification, it quickly becomes apparent they wrote down what they think they're creating their own vision, but they're not. They're still writing what somebody else wants for them because they think it leads to their approval or what they want for that person, or they think they're supposed to say. I'll give an example, man. We did an event in Phoenix, and this woman came into the event, and she was clearly kind of, a little bit short with people, and you could tell maybe she didn't seem very friendly and welcoming, and she was kind of had a scowl on her face, and but that's okay, that's fine. And then by the end of the second day, she raises her hand. She says, I just have to say something right now, because we went through the vision creation exercise. We started the process, and she says, my whole life, I thought I wanted kids simply because people told me I should want kids. Like, what kind of woman doesn't want kids? Like, who doesn't want kids? Who doesn't want children? What kind of person would you be? She's like, I don't want kids. And I don't think I've ever had the courage to admit that to myself until now. You guys gave me the permission to do this. And the truth is, like, for me, this wasn't what I want my life to look like. And I felt like I would be I'd be less than if I didn't want children. And so here's a woman who was living her entire life feeling unhappy. And, by the way, you could tell, and when she said this stuff, her complete demeanor changed. Of course, there was a place of no judgment, total acceptance. And so you could see this change in her personality where all of a sudden she felt the freedom to express what she really wanted, which, by the way, and you can imagine this could be something that could be, have some emotional charge to it. Right. And so most cases aren't this dramatic, but I just bring this up to help you illustrate, like, you may have things that you feel like you're not supposed to want, or you're not supposed to say, but I'm here to tell you, like, no matter what that is, like, you got to be authentic to yourself. Like, if you want to live like on a remote island by yourself, cool, awesome. But what I'm saying is, like, you really got to identify that for yourself and be true to yourself.
Exactly. So, I think it's a well put, and we can move on to the next one because we haven't gone too much into it. Before I do that, I noticed there was a comment on the Facebook Live. Nace, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. You said, when is your next mastermind? We'll mention this towards the end of this, podcast. Yeah. I will tell you this. Next one is March 8th, 9th, 10th in Raleigh. And we're doing this, and we have some seating. That's not right, open. Dude.
It's March 9th, 10th, 11th.
Yes, 9, 10, 11. So what did I say? Okay, so listen, 9, this is the only time that you should be listening to Wojo, not me. That's the only time, all right? March 9, 10, 11. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right, so let's move on to the next one, dude.
All right, next one is putting your how in your vision and focusing on the how. And this also ties in very closely, and I think we can probably cover both of these at the same time, man, which is number 4, which is placing limits, restrictions, and boundaries on your vision. So let's talk about these, man, because this is a huge, huge part of this entire equation. Now, I want to be clear with this. Your vision is your ideal life, okay? And what that means, especially in light of what we just spoke about, of writing down what you really want, I'm not here to tell you that you should have on your vision, like, hey, I have a 42-foot yacht. I have my own G6. I have 14 different houses. And, like, if that's not what you want, don't feel like you have to put that down there, because I think we live in a culture sometimes that tells us we have to do these incredible, huge things, when in fact, inside, we really don't have any value or association of desire for this. And so the reason I put that in there is because I don't want you to limit what you write down or put any restrictions on that, but I also want you to still be true to you. And especially when it comes to the vision, let's tie this into the how. Some people really feel like, oh, I can't put this down because I don't know how I'm going to accomplish it. Yes, I do want XYZ, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I'm not going to write it down.
Yes. And here's the thing about this how. I love this particular one because I have conversations with my students and people at the events all the time about this. Think about this. Our nature as a human being, by nature, we go to the how, because that's what we've been kind of raised, right? How. By the way, that's how dogs bark in Poland, all right? How. So here's the thing. It's not about the how. It's about the what and the who. And let me clarify this, what I mean by that. When we're talking about writing this stuff on the vision, the only thing that you want to put on the vision is what you want, the what, and maybe the who that you want to help you come alongside, what type of a person you're looking for in that. Because what ends up happening is when you're putting the how on there, guess what kind of a how you're putting on? You're putting a how that you know that's from that past that you've experienced already, right? Like, how do I want to have a, say $2 million house. Well, based on your how, if you don't have any experience with creative real estate investing, it will be, well, I got to find a way to buy a $2 million house to get a mortgage for $2 million. And now if I'm looking at 10% down, then I have to come up with $200,000 of cash before I can do this. Now, guess what? That's going to probably, if you have $10 in your bank account, it's going to take forever. Now, if you are looking from the perspective of where there is no how, and you just look from the who, all of a sudden you might be able to find someone who's a creative real estate investor who has a house, or we have examples like this all the time in life on there of different who's that have a much better how that you can never imagine that come alongside of you to help you fulfill on your vision. Because think about it, humans, we are really good. We want to contribute to others. If you really think about it, the good people, we want to contribute to others. So when you start looking from that perspective, you look for those different who's, it's crazy how who's start showing up in your life.
And let's even take it a step further back. Yeah, we understand you got to figure out a way to make these things a reality. And we do this at the event as well. We have action steps, we have waypoints, we help you reverse engineer exactly what it is you want to accomplish. But think of it this way, like you're not trying to, for instance, like when you're trying to create something new, that has to be an experience in imagination. And the worrying about how to make this a reality, or even who at this point, don't even think about that. I want you to just think about what you want your life to look like. And imagine that you found a magical lamp and you could rub it and a genie would come out and they would grant you any wish you want. What would you wish for? Right? Or consider that you had just won the lottery and money would never be a concern for you ever again. Like, what do you want your life to look like? Like, I really want to know this. And so this is purely imaginative. And when I say imaginative, this is something it's a linkage between your head and your heart that gives you this output that you put out on paper, and there's a deep emotional connection to it. And then we'll worry about the who, we'll worry about the how, we'll worry about everything else later. But right now we want to just connect with ourselves and figure out what we want to experience, what we want to have, what we want to see, who we want to become, all of these parts of our lives. Cause they're all, and I'll tell you just many times it's been interesting over the years. I've noticed a pattern, many times people's vision starts with like what I want to have, like material items. Then it's kind of like, what do I want to experience and see and do? And then many times it's like, what kind of person I want to become, what's a character and, that I want to develop into, and the kind of person I want to become.
Legacy kind of stuff.
Yeah. But everyone's different, right? Everyone's different. Again, there's no right or wrong. And I'm not going to tell you what your vision could look like, because then I'm just like somebody else who's influencing you as well. So you have to decide this for yourself. But the reason why, like, let's put off that is because, so many people won't write down what they want because, like, well, I have to, pick up Johnny from daycare at 3:00 and I have to get to my job 8 to 5. And so I'm not going to write this down, or I don't have any money right now. And so I can't have these things. And they place these restrictions and these limitations on their vision, and they'll take into consideration their current circumstances, which are irrelevant for this process, right? We're only talking about the imagination side of things. And so, for instance, Disney and Pixar have a process that they use to develop new components and initiatives in their business. And so, for instance, they have 3 groups. So one group is the Imagineers, and the Imagineers' job is to only create the most amazing, incredible, magical thing they can. They don't give any consideration to whether this is even possible, within the laws of physics, whether it's going to make money, whether it fits the brand, whether it's going to, be in demand. They don't give any consideration to any of that. That's the Imagineer. The other 2 departments, the rest of the people, the accountants, the admin, everybody else decides like the details of that. But the Imagineer is what I want you to be during the vision creation process. We'll worry about the other stuff later. But in order for you to really connect with what you really want in your life, you have to take this step and you have to be that person.
Yeah, those engineers and those accountants, I call them the party poopers.
The potty poopers?
No, the party poopers.
Party poopers.
We're pooping on our party, right? We're imagining this stuff and they come and poop on our party.
All right.
So listen, one last thing I want to mention is this, because some people may see like this is impossible.
Yeah.
On my vision, one of the things that I have, that one day I will be speaking on the stage with Tony Robbins. Okay. And I don't know how that's going to come up, but that is what I have on my vision. So I look for who's to help me connect to that particular possibility to come to life. So I was just at Mastermind in Phoenix, driving down the street, come across this building that looked kind of familiar. I stopped, walked into the building. I started talking one person, which this person that I know is 3 people away from Tony Robbins that they literally know, because he is a partner with a guy who literally is doing stuff with Tony Robbins right now. Whether that's going to materialize or not, I'm not sure. I'm in a conversation with them. However, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Who starts showing up in your life in certain ways to help you get what you want. But you got to think big. And before we move into the next one, love what Becky just said on the thing. She said, people are afraid to think big. I love your exercise of what would you do for another person, favorite child. We don't dream of ourselves, but would give big for others. And that's what you got to do in this vision. You got to dream big. Yeah. You got to go after those goals and dreams that you want.
And so what she's talking about is like during the event, during the Get a Life Getaway, we do a series of exercises designed to pull out of you what you really want for your life. And we approach it from a few different angles. One she mentioned in particular is one where we say, hey, what would you want your kids' life to look like? As grown adults, how would you like their life to look? And so when you come to the event, you already kind of have an inside track on understanding.
Don't spoil too much.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil this for you, but this is kind of something that you actually want for yourself. Little secret there. But yeah, we got some other exercises too. It's awesome. It's incredible to put this out. So no limits, no hows. Not like we're just gonna write this stuff down. And the last one, you ready for this?
Bring it.
Creating a vision and then not referring to it and letting it collect dust on your shelf. What do you got there, Peter? Let me see it.
It's my vision. I don't like.
Oh, everybody just got a screenshot of that. All right.
That's right. Yeah. So listen, I see it. It's on my desk. It's right next to me.
Yeah.
In fact, I have it printed on my paper that I can see. And when I get up in the morning, it's right next to my bed. I can look at it. The first thing I look at, I see my vision. And it's one of the most important things that you can do is to go and actually read this thing. See if you're excited about it. Because when you start reading on it, you're going to start feeling certain things. And if you are feeling like, I don't like this, then you got to rewrite it. But if you feel some excitement, if you feel like you're moved, you're touched, and you're inspired by it, guess what? You're going to keep wanting, subconsciously sometimes, to keep moving towards that vision, but it's got to be present for you. It's got to be in front of you. You got to keep reading it. It's almost like you have to embody it by doing it to be able to move on to the next level to achieving that vision. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, man, I would just say that, like, and by the way, me personally, I'm not like a woo-woo new age kind of guy, but there is something that is inexplicably magical about this document, because I've just seen it so many times that I can't explain it, that when you take the time to write this down and you refer to it often, you start to really align yourself with that vision in ways that, maybe it's repetition, maybe it's that emotional connection that you're mentioning, maybe it's just the constantly being at the front of mind, but you start to move in this direction. And then I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight, but over time, you really start looking at your vision, and every day you're like, wow, I'm living that, or wow, that came true, or wow, that's I'm like right around the corner from that, and this is in all areas. I'm thinking of a life in a member right now who put on his vision. He's like, hey, I make $20,000 a month passive income with less than 4 hours a week of work. And he had no idea how he was going to do it. And, one thing led to another, and this took a couple of years. He's living it now. And he's like, if I wouldn't have put that down on my vision, I firmly believe that I would not be living it right now. He's like, because I wouldn't have been looking for it. I wouldn't have aligned my actions and decisions along those paths. And so it's one of those things this is your magical roadmap to the life you want to live.
Right.
But you got to use it. You got to use it. Imagine having a map and not using it. Right. It's not going to help you.
That's backwards, right? If you do it that way. One thing I want to hint, do not, because I've seen this happen, do not laminate your vision. Okay, I've seen people do that. Why?
What if you want to look at it in the shower or something, man?
Okay, well, then put in I don't know. Dude, why do you have to complicate things?
I stumped you on that one, didn't I?
You're complexifying this whole conversation.
What if I want to look at it while I'm scuba diving or something?
Okay, well then, anybody has any comments in regards to what he just said? I don't know if you have some ideas. Scuba diving, I don't know. Write it on your suit. Bro. I don't know. Put it on your glasses, whatever.
Make vision placemats, bro. That's genius right there.
We should start that business, right?
I know.
So listen, one of the things that I want you to see is when you start reading this stuff, this stuff works. I mean, like Carrie just wrote it on our chat here. She wrote it. I attended the Gear Life Giveaway, was life-changing. This week, I started living out my vision I wrote in the Gear Life Giveaway. I never would have thought it could happen this quickly. Highly recommend going to the next event.
Oh, that's
love
awesome.
it, Carrie, man. It's so awesome. I remember you're freaking rock star.
Yeah, she's a rock star.
So
it's awesome.
Simon said, laminated, but keep a copy so you can change it. All right, let's see. Look, she's starting to get creative.
Okay,
right.
Yeah, she's working with it.
Right. So are these all 5 mistakes?
Those 5 mistakes, let's review them real quick. Number 1, not having a vision. Number 2, letting other people dictate what your life looks like, right? Whether that's because you don't have a vision or because you even put that on your own vision. Number 3 is focusing on the how. Number 4 is letting limits dictate what you write down in your vision. And number 5 is not referring to and using your vision.
Not reading it, not looking at it, not embodying it. By the way, when you read it with some oomph, read it with some feeling. Don't just read it like, say, I am, that kind of stuff, because it's not going to work.
Yeah. This is, again, like I mentioned before, this is, if you read it and you're not excited, you didn't do it right. There's something missing. You're either writing what you think is impossible or you think somebody else wants for you and you don't really want yourself. Or there's something else going on there. It should, imagine looking at this vision of your ideal life and feeling what that would feel like to live that. Could you imagine what that would be like to live that and feel that? And every day you get to wake, dude, I wake up excited every day for what I get to do because I'm living my vision. Like it's an amazing thing that I want everyone to experience.
So what I'm hearing from that is your vision is to live like me.
To live like you. I'm more, I want the Polish accent too, man.
That's right. Listen,
I'm jealous. I am jealous. Guys,
dude, I love this is live. It's recorded. You guys heard it. There's that. See, jealous. This doesn't come very easy. I mean, you have to work at it, buddy.
I know, man. I
Did totally you just try to do a Polish accent?
Hey, guys, come back to the room, please. I am here. Yes, you must help me, please. Understand.
You're an ass.
Right. Hey,
all right, so listen.
On our live stream.
Yes, it's live stream. I think 30,000 people just checked out. So like I see you, I don't know, listen to these jokers. Our credibility went out the window. It's
all right. So listen, back on track. If you want to create your own life vision, come join us at our Get a Life Getaway. This event is incredible. It's been going on since 2008. We've walked thousands and thousands and thousands of people through this process. And what we have prepared for you, especially to make this a no-brainer for you, is we have a special promotion where it's 50% off an event ticket by using the promo code Facebook. I believe it has to be all caps, by the way. If you have any problems ordering this, and I'll tell you where to get it in a second, just email us at support@lifeinair.com. But you'll go to lifeinair.com. You'll pull down a list of upcoming events. You will find a location and a date that works for you. We do about a half dozen of these events per year. We actually do about 3 of the Get a Life Getaway and 3 of our Business Builder workshop. And because if you remember when we started the live stream, I said, hey, we help you create what your ideal life and then structure the business around that. And so depending on where you are, you may need one of the other, but and little inside secret, that promo code will work on either event. And so you can, and by the way, you should attend both. But use the promo code Facebook, pick a date, location that works for you. My suggestion is to go the sooner the better, because the life and the business that you are waiting for is waiting for you. Like the quicker you get here, the quicker you can start living it, the quicker you can start experiencing it. So it's 50% off using the promo code Facebook. And when you actually get to the order page, you'll see this little field there. It says promo code. You just enter it there. And again, if it doesn't work, reach out to us at support@lifeinair.com. And by the way, I teach this personally. Peter teaches it personally. We have a full support staff of team members and coaches and things to walk you through every step. So you're not on your own. We're going to guide you hand in hand through the exact process that we've walked all these other people through. And frankly, there's nothing else like it out there. We will help you create your vision. You'll have your ideal calendar. You'll know how much money it costs to live your vision in full, right? Some people think like, oh, I need to make $500,000 a year to live my vision. And they do this exercise and it turns out it's like, $55,000 or some other number that's astronomically lower than they expected. You'll figure out exactly the steps to create that. You'll have an action plan. Like, this is not pie in the sky approach to living. We're not going to all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. We're going to get down to brass tacks. We're going to talk about, I worked in brass tacks here just for you, Peter.
See?
Strategy, tactics, tricks, techniques, things we've learned to hack this system of creating your life and your vision. Man, it's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to break down the limiting beliefs that are holding you back in life, to holding you back in creating this vision. That's what I love doing. Break down the fear and all that conversation, because that's stopping a lot of people. It is amazing. The exercises that we do, people just light up and they have an amazing experience. One of the things that I see a lot of people, like you just see in the comments here, that they love being at this event. I love doing these events. We love doing this because we love pouring into people. We love seeing lives change. When I say this room is a transformational event, I'm not kidding. I've been to a lot of different events, different masterminds and things like that. This is one of those events that actually has a profound impact on a lot of people. So I would highly encourage you guys to come out there.
Yeah.
Wherever you are at right now, this price may seem like it's a crazy price or it's nothing compared to what you're going to get, because you're literally writing your own life, what you want your life to look like. You're literally creating a plan for yourself to be able to go and then take the next steps. Because on day 3 in the afternoon, we are literally going to put down the steps of what you need to do to achieve that vision. How cool is that? All right. So go over.
Let me say a few more things, man. A few more things real quick. We will look at every part of your life, by the way, in detail. So you'll have addressed everything from friendships, family, relationships. We'll talk about financial freedom. We're going to talk about your health. We're going to talk about your hobbies, your free time, your what do you do for fun, your spiritual life, all of it, and all of it will be addressed, and we'll have a very concrete, clear plan for you to achieve that. And you also mentioned the price, man. I'll say this: we offer and are glad to extend to you 100% money back guarantee. Like, literally, come out to the full event. And by the way, man, it always, I've said this before, it always bugged me when I would pay to go to an event and I would, they'd have a guarantee, but it was like, hey, come to the first half of the first day. And if it's not awesome, then we'll give you your money back. And it's like a 3-day event. And I'm like, well, what if you cover something good, like at the end of day 1 or day 2 or day 3, and they kept me there out of fear, really, which was, I always felt it was kind of slimy. So we're telling you, come to the full event, the full 3 days. And if at the end, you don't think it was amazing, incredible, better than any other money you've ever spent to create the life you want, just tell us and we will give you 100% refund right there. Just turn in your workbook and we part as friends. And I'll also say this, though, out of all of those thousands and thousands of people that have come out to this event, and we've been doing it for 15 years, not a single person has asked me for the money back. Think about that for a second. I don't know if there's a stronger testimony to how awesome this event is. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to double up on that guarantee. And if there's not, and you want a refund, you can go ahead and get that. And I'll let you go and punch Wojo in the face. It's right, like, who would not want to do that?
The punch Wojo in the face guarantee. All right. That's an interesting one. All right. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, lifeinair.com. Look at the upcoming events, pick a Get a Life Getaway. That's where we focus on life, or a Business Builder Workshop where we focus on business. And it's just an amazing thing. I can't wait to be part of your journey. We're here to serve you, to help you create the life and business you love. And by the way, it's not just about you. I hope you realize that. The biggest impact that we're hoping to make is like you change your life. And guess what? Everybody else around you, their life changes as well, because you are acting differently. You're modeling things in a new way that influences and impresses and inspires them in a way that now they feel change. And guess what they do? The same thing. And that's how that pebble in the pond is such a powerful concept for what we're doing with Life in Air. And we want you to be a part of that.
It's a huge ripple effect. So go over to lifeinair.com, get your tickets. We'll see you guys in Raleigh. Come say hi. tell us that you saw this Facebook Live. I would love to say hi to you and have a little chat and see what we can do for you.
Love it. See you all soon.